I call the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Labour opposition will be supporting this bill through all stages, and I thank the Minister for the information that has been provided. The Policing Act 2008 was a bill passed by the previous Labour government, and I was the Minister of the time. It was a bill that, I have to say, Minister, followed a very long and careful consultative process. It took 2 years in the making. It was a bill that was rewriting a 50-year-old Act. And over those years there had been incremental changes, but the actual Act looked more like a patchwork quilt than a good piece of legislation. So over those 2 years there'd been wide input from many individuals, from organisation, from the Law Commission. We even had a public research project undertaken about this bill, and we got very good involvement from the Law Commission. I think one of the most important things about this bill was we had across this Parliament work done on the Policing Act, because it involved New Zealand Police, who are independent of any political party. So for the Labour government of the time, it was important that we in fact got wide buy-in to a new Policing Act, which we did. And in fact, at the time, I commended members of this House for the work that was done in bringing together a piece of legislation that really only had one contentious part to it, and that was whether we should allow police officers to also stand for local government. And there was, of course, at that time, what we had, which was called the Ron Mark Bill amendment. Ron Mark was very adamant that, and he was as part of our coalition at that time, he was adamant that we should not allow police officers to stand for local government. He'd seen a police officer who had been elected to a particular local authority park his police car outside the council chamber and attend council meetings throughout the day when he should have been policing. Well, that was the only contentious part of the bill at that time. But when you have a bill that makes so many changes, it is possible that you can make mistakes. And we have had, this is the second amendment that has been made to this bill. The first one was made in October 2009 when we had to validate the oaths that were taken by police officers. That was done in this House in a very cordial way, and we passed that through. We are now making another amendment, and it too is an inadvertent mistake. It was never intended not to carry through the clause that existed within the old 1958 Act, which enabled the police to hold and to store identifying particulars of young people who had committed a crime, who had appeared before the youth court, had not been referred to the district court for a sentence, but an order had been made against them under the Children, Young Persons and Their Family Act. And there are a number of orders which could be made and are made under that Act. And they do range from a conviction, an order brought to, for supervision with residence, supervision with activity, etc. It was never intended that the police should not continue to be able to hold that information. We're not talking about young people who hadn't done anything. We are talking about young people who had committed a crime, and the idea was to hold the information to help reduce re-offending. And that was why it was being held. It wasn't being held for inappropriately. There has not been, as far as I can recall, issues raised about them holding such information. And my understanding from the Minister, it relates to around about 1,200 youths each year. Well, I think this Parliament ought to accept that that was an error, it wasn't carried over, and that we amend it. We also accept that it needs to be done under urgency, and it does need to be retrospective. And we'll talk more about that when we get to the clause-by-clause analysis. So we, the Labour opposition, will support this bill. It could be said that we need to be much more careful when we are drafting legislation, but I have not yet found any political party in government that hasn't at some stage had to amend legislation, because although we're pretty good in this place, we are not perfect. We are not perfect. Even when it goes before a select committee and you have numerous submissions. In fact, in terms of this bill, it had something like 5 position papers written on it. Every part of it was looked at, examined and consulted on. Errors still can be made. So the best thing we can do as a parliament is to rectify an error and to move on to allow the police to carry out the role that they do. So we will support this bill, and I hope it receives the support of this parliament.
Excuse me. I call the